What's good, people? I'm Daniel Omach. Welcome to the Freestyle. We have sort of a different episode today. I moved apartments today and it was very tiring. It was a lot of work, so didn't have as much time to edit and all that. Either way, hope you enjoy it. Today, I'm gonna be talking about athletes and activism. Recently, a famous soccer player named Zlatan Ibrahimovic made comments that players like LeBron James shouldn't use their platforms to engage in what he called politics. He said, stick to what you're good at, don't do politics because it's not a good look. LeBron responded and basically said that he feels he can still do his main job very well and have a platform where he influences society to the best of his ability and he uses his platform to make positive change. Here's my take on it. I think this is very clear. I think LeBron is very obviously right, in my opinion. Athletes have been engaging in activism for a long time, really since the beginning of sport. And even if you go back to 532 AD, that's correct. There was a chariot race in Constantinople. Two rival chariot racers went to the emperor at the time and asked for the emperor to pardon two of their followers who were being committed to death for treason or something like that. That was an early act of athlete activism, and it's continued really ever since then. So I think when you think about their platform, they have a massive amount of influence. They have a lot of people watching, a lot of people tuned in, and that's why companies want to work with athletes. That's why businesses want to sponsor athletes. There's a reason that all those advertisements show during NBA games, during commercial breaks, during NFL games. It's because companies know we have a lot of eyes and therefore we have a high capacity to influence a large amount of the public right now. So if companies can use the athlete platform to convince people to buy things, why can't athletes use their own platform to convince people to do positive things for the world? And just on the activism piece, right, you can go, from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to LeBron James. You can go from Billie Jean King to Naomi Osaka. There's a legacy of this, and I think it actually makes an athlete's legacy greater if what they can do outside of the court, outside of the field, also has a strong, significant influence. You also have to remember, for many black folks in particular, just participating was a protest or an act of defiance. For many women in particular, just participating was a protest or an act of defiance. You can't really forget that when you're thinking about the context of it. Therefore, when Jackie Robinson decides to play and decides that he's gonna travel with the team, he's gonna tolerate all the grief that he basically had to face from so many racist communities, well, that's a protest. So it's been happening even if black athletes didn't want to necessarily speak out in the manner of a Muhammad Ali or speak out like a Bill Russell. They were protesting anyway, and it's been happening. And just one sort of last thing on the politics thing, I'm on Twitter and sometimes I see replies to tweets say, oh, he's a good guy, but I wish he would just stay out of politics. Let's just make sure we understand this definition of politics, right? A lot of times they're referring to, if somebody says, oh, that person was wrongfully accused or wrongfully killed, that's not politics. Sure, I think it's political. I think everything is political, and I can get into that at some point. But politics, to me, are we talking about policy? Are we talking about the government and their role? Are we talking about raising the minimum wage like I would like the country to do? That's politics. If we're talking about human rights, we can call that human rights. If we're talking about fairness and our understanding of equality broadly, we can call that equality. I think people today use the term politics to invalidate what someone is saying if they're not firmly in that field. It's like, oh, politics. Let's not talk politics. Let's get these definitions down. And I just think politics is often an inaccurate description of what people are actually talking about. And lastly, I want to shout out Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin has been speaking up about the abuse and violence that Asian Americans in this country have been suffering from recently. Really since the start of COVID, but it sounds like it's ramped up recently, even in places like New York, in places like California. So I just want to shout out him because I think, he's an example of somebody who is using his platform to raise awareness about it. One of his posts that he had, I came across it and it led me to learn more about what's been going on, and it's really horrible, and we need somebody and multiple people speaking up about these kinds of things. And that's the whole purpose. Maybe nobody finds out about it. Maybe a lot of people don't even hear of Asian Americans suffering from violent attacks in this country if Jeremy Lin doesn't speak up. That's the impact it can have. Maybe now people are on the lookout for it more. Maybe now people see a situation and they say, hey, we need to stop this. Hey, stop this. And that awareness can make a difference, and it absolutely does. So that's why I think athletes should use their platform. I think Zlatan is wrong. I think LeBron is right, and I think he's modeled it in the way he's made influence with things like the I Promise School, with leading initiatives like More Than a Vote. I think he has made a difference and proven that athletes can make a positive change with their platforms. That's it. This is a freestyle. I'm in a new place. I'm going to figure out the lighting. I'm going to figure out everything, but very excited about this next step. Appreciate you tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all that. We'll be back hopefully next week with another episode. Thanks for watching the freestyle. I'm Daniel Omach. Talk to you soon. Peace.